to the Citadel Watch. My name is Karen McCoy, and I was taken back to this dream that was given to us in March 2022, and I thought it was very significant because now looking back, I can see more significance about the dream and also more understanding. So I thought what I would do is listen to Pastor Chris Reed of Morning Star Ministries as he shares his money dream. And then we are going to review some of the things that he is talking about.
So this is the dream. I'll just read it to you. I had this dream on early morning, March 25th, 2022. And in the dream, I saw an unknown man who was dressed in a black suit, and he held a $50 US bill in his hand. And the dream consisted of him tearing the $50 bill in 3 different stages. And after each stage, I was handed by random people who came up to me to hand me newspapers, national newspapers here in the United States with various unique headlines. So he stands in front of me and he takes the $50 bill, and the first tear, he tears off 1/3 of the $50 bill. And when he did, this is when people started coming up to me, bringing me national newspapers, one right after the other, with headlines that I could all read and were very vivid in my memory. And as soon as, of course, I woke up, I wrote this down. But the first one said, after he tore the $50 bill 1/3 off, the headline read this: "The dollar drops 30% in value." And a subtitle to the headline was, "Mideast Oil Strikes Deal with China Instead of the U.S." I then was given another headline which said, quote, "The Perfect Storm," unquote, subtitled, "Inflation Reaches a New High." And then another person came up to me and handed me another news headline, which said, quote, "Food Shortage Crisis as Wheat and Bread Imports Are at a Stalemate," unquote. Another headline was then handed to me which said something like, quote, "Riots and Civil Unrest as Citizens Demand Entitlement Checks," unquote. Now this was the only headline that I couldn't remember the exact wording of, but what I shared was close to it. Then in the dream, the attention was brought back on the man dressed in the black suit who held the $50 bill. This time he tore the $50 bill in half. And when he did this, an earthquake happened under my feet. Another person walked up to me and handed me a headline which read, quote, "Israeli and Palestinian two-state solution reached," unquote. And then another person came up to me and gave me a headline which said, quote, "Major earthquake hits the middle of the U.S., unquote. Then the man in the black suit took the rest of the $50 bill and he started tearing it in smaller pieces. So the first time he tore off 1/3. The second time he tore off half of the $50 bill. And now he takes the rest of the $50 bill and tears off in small pieces, one by one. And then another person walks up to me and hands me another headline which read, quote, "America in Pieces," unquote. And it was subtitled as this, quote, "More states secede from the nation in rebellion to the federal government," unquote. I was then handed another headline. Another person came up and handed me a headline which said, quote, U.S. military takes charge as uncertainty looms over the federal government, unquote. Then the man dressed in the black suit took out a new dollar bill. It was not the $50 bill. It was a $1 U.S. bill. But what was interesting about it was in the dream, the $1 bill looked like a cell phone. It was a $1 bill, but it looked like a cell phone. I did see George Washington's face on it, but it looked very different than a normal $1 bill. And I remember looking at it and just studying it and was kind of, pondering why this $1 bill looked like a cell phone. And when I am pondering this, another person comes up, hands me another headline, and the newspaper headlines read, quote, New Currency for a Renewed Nation, unquote. Another headline was handed to me and it said, quote, Simplicity Restored as Americans grow their own food again, unquote. And I woke up.
So this is the dream of Pastor Chris Reed. And I thought it was very significant because I believe it was giving us, or is giving us, timelines of what is to take place in the USA. Now, the first thing I noticed, of course, was why a $50 bill? Well, the person on the $50 bill is Ulysses S. Grant. And what is this president who is, I believe he was the 18th president of the United States? What did he accomplish? Why were we shown in this dream the $50 bill? Well, he was the person who's best known. He was commanding general of the Union Army and had victory over the Confederacy during the American Civil War in 1865. Now, I'm not an American history buff, but yes, he was very significant in the American Reconstruction. In fact, he implemented congressional Reconstruction and he removed the vestiges of slavery in America. So he was very significant in creating a new USA. Also, we see the different stages, 3 stages that the U.S. was going to go through. And the first stage really was about the primary development of the dollar drop. And so that seems to be the key point of when this dream actually starts to manifest in the natural. When the dollar drops 30%, then after that, there was a Mideast oil strike deal with China. And then, of course, inflation reaches an all-time high in the States with food shortages and civil unrest because the citizens were not getting their entitlement checks. Now, all these things we were told over the years that would take place and are being planned even as we speak. Then the second stage was when he tore the remaining bill in half again, and an earthquake took place. And then after that, Israel and Palestine, there was an agreement, a 2-state agreement was reached, and a major earthquake actually hit the USA in the middle. So we're seeing something very significant here. I wanted to do this because I honestly think this could be a timeline that we're looking at for the stages that we've been waiting for. Then stage 3, of course, we heard that the last stage was the man in the black suit tore up the final part of the $50 bill into many small pieces. And he was saying that he was told more states, meaning in the U.S., the states would secede from the nation, and the U.S. military would take charge because of uncertainty over the federal government. Very interesting. And then it was very interesting because he went into a dream part of the dream, where he saw a new dollar. It was a $1. I believe it just represents the U.S. dollar, but it was on a cell phone. And of course, I believe that is digital currency, whether it's CBDCs or whether it's cryptocurrencies. I don't know. But very interesting. He also then said at that point, simplicity was restored as Americans began to grow their own food. And so basically we're seeing the change of a nation. I'm sure all of you will have more ideas and understanding, especially the U.S. citizens, but I believe this dream confirms everything that we have been told is being prepared. Now, can something be changed? Can a dream be altered? Well, that's for God to decide. But I, myself, will pray over this dream and over the results, and I will pray for the citizens of the United States as they go through their season of shift and change and restoration. God bless you, God keep you, and I will see you on Friday.